Today we will talk about Gin Web Framework integration with Golang. Gin Framework very famous if you want to build high performance REST APIs endpoint in Golang. They are providing a lot of features like they are they are providing good routing mechanism, performance wise very good, middleware support like authentication, logging and core support, array management. So today I have created a service using a Gin. It's a very basic microservice. So this is a microservice high level design where actor interacting with a Gin based microservice over HTTP. We have two handlers here. One is album APIs handler, second is monitoring API handler. So if you see the code structure, or maybe we can start with the basic stuff. We can create a microservice using go mode init command, and after that you can add a dependency. This is the dependency Gin dependency, and these are the four endpoints we have implemented for the albums, and last one is for the health check. We will cover these endpoints while walking through the code. So code structure wise, if we see, we have two packages. One is a handler, second is server, and there is a main.go file. In a main.go file, we have an entry point where we will call server or REST API endpoint to get started. In a server package, we have a web server file where we have basic wiring to start a server. And third one is handler, where we have two handler. One is album handler, which will handle album related request, and the third one is monitoring handler. Again, it's a part of handler package that will handle health checks. And we have more.go, where we have a only one dependency, that is a Gin framework dependency. Now if we go over the code, so first we can see this start server. So start server will call server dot start server func. Here we are getting instance from a Gin. So this we call as a router. So as per the Gin framework, it's a Gin engine, it's engine reference, but we can call as a router also. And this router reference we are passing to initialize our endpoints and to start our server. Here we are starting our server. To initialize our endpoints, we have two entry points. One is to initialize album router, and second one to initialize monitoring endpoints. So if we jump on this one, this is the album file, album handler.go file, where we have this func, where we are initializing three endpoints. One is a post album /album, and this will call save all album. Second is /album :id, that you will get album by id, and third one is get all the albums. For every endpoints or API path, we have a function, a Golang func, where we are doing all the logic processing. But before jumping to this main logic code, first we will need to understand the structure of this file. In this file, we have two struct to manage request response On the API endpoint, we have created two struct. One is album request struct, where we are expecting three parameters: title, artist, and price. These are JSON type we are expecting here, and these fields are mandatory and required. Second struct is album response struct, where we will return response back to the user with ID. Only extra field is ID we're using here. We have used one temporary storage because in memory kind of things, because we have not integrating database or cache here, we are just using temporary in memory mechanism for the demo purpose. We have one sequence generator to generate ID for each and every album creation. Okay, now we can cover API endpoints one by one. Now first to save album. So save album, when the user hit, the request will land here. The router will route the request to this method, and here first we will parse the data. We will try to map the data. If there is an error, we will say this content not found, or some message you can throw, invalid request or the wrong parameter, you can say that. Okay, and if your request maps successfully, then you will see the entire body, and we are generating one random number here for every request, and creating album response object, then storing into the map with respect to the ID, and sending same album response back to the user in a body tag. I think this message we can correct, and not it should be bad request, say. Okay, so let me run this server and see the behavior. We can run server using go run main.go. Okay, so server is started. You can see these are the logs coming from the Gin framework. The endpoints, you can see the server is started now. Let me clear this. Okay, this cannot work here. Now if we hit first endpoint, which is this one, to create album, okay, so we have a 201 response which is created, and the ID is generated for same, and it's successfully saved. So let me try some invalid scenario, like suppose price tag is, or price variable is not there. Yeah, you will get a 400, which is bad request. The message, as we set here, bad request, right? Now if we send another request with 600 price, something this way, and we can say artist is some other name. Yeah, this is again created. We got a successful response. Now I have two entries in our in memory store. Now if we go back to the code, in album handler, we can see the second endpoint is get album by ID. So this is again a same. We will get a request here. We will pass the ID parameter first here, which is part of our API endpoint path. So ID will come. We will have to parse it and convert to integer. And if the value is available, we can send back. So let me try this one. Um, this is then let what are the last, suppose this one we have, we can replace this. Yeah, you can see this at 200 successful response, and we got this. Okay, and if you want to see, no, let's cover the code first, then we can. This is, and if you want to see all the album, then we are not filtering out the map because we have all the data in a map. We can just send back all the entries to the user. So here we are just iterating over the map, and if the map is not empty, the value is greater than 0, then status will be success, otherwise the status will be not found. So endpoint is very simple, slash album. You can, yes, now you can see here all the entries. So we have inserted two record. Now we can see the two records here. Okay. Now coming to the third endpoint. The third endpoint is monitoring. So monitoring endpoint we have implemented uh, just to check whether service is up and running. It's a kind of optional endpoint. It's generally used on production to check whether your service is available or not. So this endpoint, uh, we are we have a slash health path or endpoint we have, and this method we have implemented for the health, and here the request will come when you hit slash health endpoint, and you will get the message status up and running with time. Let me try this one. Yeah, you can see this. Yeah, so you can see we can implement REST API endpoint very quickly in neat and clean way using Gin framework.